That was Olu Sijuade. Send him some love. Thank you, Olu, for starting us off on such a beautiful note. My name is Jerry Bonavia, and I'm the Executive Director of Wisconsin Anti-Violence Effort, or WAVE, Educational Fund. We are a grassroots organization with 70,000 members from all around the state dedicated to preventing gun violence. When the global coronavirus pandemic crashed into our never-ending epidemic of gun violence in the US, we knew that it would be important to create a space where we could hurt together, grieve together, be angry together, and where we could heal together. Because in any public health crisis, it's important that we look out for ourselves. And we're seeing that with the folks who are participating in these pop-up protests. They've got that part down. They're looking out for themselves just fine. But the other part of responding to a public health crisis is looking out for each other. The other part is making sacrifices for the greater good. We do that as individuals, and when our government is working right, our elected officials do that as well. They balance individual rights with the rights of the collective, the common good. I'm thankful we have leaders in Wisconsin who get that. So it is my honor to introduce our Lieutenant Governor, Mandela Barnes.
Was muted. I want to thank you so much, Jerry, first of all, for putting this together. Thank you for all of your tireless work. Thank you for having me. Our thoughts and prayers are certainly with you in this very difficult time. But I want to thank the people who showed up, who are tuning in right now, people who are standing up against everything that's going on, including the virus, but also some other dangerous things that are happening right now, especially at the state capitol, where we see people who are recklessly endangering not only their own safety, but the safety of so many people, and not even those who are in the vicinity of the gathering, but the people who could potentially be impacted once they go back home, once they go to a grocery store, when they go somewhere else, and potentially spread this virus even further. We know that COVID-19 is taking a toll on the state of Wisconsin, as it has much of the nation. And we're doing everything that we can do to make sure that we flatten the curve. And I have you all to thank that that is happening. But just because we started to flatten the curve does not mean that we're out of the woods yet. We still have so much more work to do to make sure that Wisconsin is safe and healthy as it possibly can be. And it's not easy. It's very frustrating for a whole lot of folks. We've all sacrificed so much. People have lost their jobs. People have lost so much as it is. People's small businesses are struggling. And also recreation, people who just want to go to a concert, folks who signed up for that race that you trained all spring for, and to know that it's not happening or it may not happening can weigh heavily. But we will get through this together. That's the only way we'll get through this, is when we understand that we are stronger than COVID-19. We are stronger than COVID-19 as a whole, as one people, and we can no longer divide ourselves. And unfortunately, what's going on at the state capitol, or what went on earlier today at the state capitol, was violence, and it was reckless. And I call it violence because people's lives will be put at risk. The same way that people's lives were put at risk a few weeks ago when they had to go vote in person. And that was unfortunate. But we're doing everything that we can do to make Wisconsin a place that can thrive and where people have the opportunity to thrive. You can only have the opportunity to thrive when you're healthy and in a position to be able to do that effectively. So again, Wade, I want to thank you so much for the work that you're doing, not only to prevent gun violence in our communities, but even to address issues like this pandemic. COVID-19 is something that is scary. It is something that has wreaked havoc on the lives of far too many individuals. And the only way that we stop that from happening is when we practice the safer home measures. So Wisconsin, let's show the world that we can do this. Let's show the world that we can rise above, and let's set an example. Let's set a positive example of what it means, what it looks like to be resilient, to stand up, to do the right thing, and to care for our neighbors, our fellow brothers and sisters who are out there, who are battling this illness, and those who may be, and those who are on the front lines, our frontline workers who are putting themselves at risk. And what we thought of frontline workers at first, maybe police and firefighter, includes so many other people right now. It includes the grocery store workers. It includes our postal workers. It includes the people who are in our medical facilities, not just our doctors and nurses, but the support staff, the people that keep the ship running, because they are keeping our entire society running right now. The people who are delivering the food that you order, the people that don't always get thought about, the people who too often get left behind, are the only people saving our livelihoods at this moment. And we should do everything we can do to appreciate those folks and all the hard work that they do as well. So again, Wisconsin, as frustrating, as trying as this moment is, know that we will rise above and we will be better on the other end of the pandemic. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor Barnes. We're really grateful to work with you now and as we have been in the past. We're also lucky to be joined today by State Representative David Bowen. Representative Bowen has seen COVID-19 up close and personal, and we've asked him here today to share his personal story to the extent he's comfortable doing so, and to talk about what each of us can do to keep ourselves and each other safe. Representative Bowen.
Thank you, Jerry. And thank you to all the amazing people on this panel. I am honored that I was able, well, it was tough going through, but I made it through by the grace of God through the virus. And I really got my eyes open to the experience that many people in our community are going through, as we see that the turmoil from this virus is having a bigger effect on the north side of the city of Milwaukee and Black and Hmong neighborhoods. First off, the virus is much easier to contract than what was sold to us, right? We didn't start off this with a lot of information. And as I thought back to my experience hanging up the phone with my doctor, finally confirming that I actually did have the coronavirus, and thinking about, well, what were the messages that I heard? Those messages were misinformed all the way from the White House, from my friends, from even social media posts that talked about things that really just weren't true. So as you talk about the symptoms that really come with this virus and how it really does attack your body, it really does put you in a position to fight for your life. And we have a lot of folks in our communities that have immune deficiency issues, that have, especially in the African American community, the disparity in the amount of ailments from diabetes, hypertension, high blood pressure, asthma, and seeing that these things can fuel this virus to attack our loved ones even more, and to put them in a position where they might not even be able to breathe on their own. So I was able to make it through a 104-degree fever. Luckily, I didn't have pre-existing conditions to make it harder for me to beat this virus, but I really had to fight it out. And at some points, it felt like it wasn't going to end. But I'm thankful that my immune system was able to beat it. So I'm really cautious on putting our state in a position where folks from our community will not have the protection necessary to ensure that they won't get this virus, or that I even could get this virus again. It's really important that we all take a step back and look. I love sports, but we would never want the Packers to play hard in the first half, go to halftime, go to the locker room, and then come back out and play soft. We really want to make sure that we really put this thing away, and that we are doing everything we can to save lives. And I think that's what WAVE is about, ensuring that we can save as many lives as possible. And we want to ensure everything that we do, it's in the interest for the future of the state of Wisconsin. It's in the interest of the future of our neighborhoods. I've lost even mentors, and just a business owner a couple of days ago in Shorewood, in my district. It is wreaking its havoc all across the state, and especially in our district. And we want to make sure that we are living above our feelings and our frustrations, and doing what it is that's necessary that will get us on the right track.
Thank you for those words, Representative Bowen, and also, again, thank you for your words, Lieutenant Governor Barnes. I just wanted to, again, just offer you all a word of condolence for anybody who's going through a rough time right now, or anyone who has lost a loved one, or who is experiencing the feeling of grief or suffering. Again, I would just offer my condolences to you all, and please know that this programming is meant to give you all just a sense of knowing that somebody is with you, knowing that somebody cares for you, knowing that you have leaders and community members and different people who are here in an attempt to walk beside you through this. My name is Deja Garner, and I am the Community Outreach Coordinator at WAVE. I'm also co-hosting this event. And I just, again, want to welcome you all. For those of you who are just joining us, the next piece of our programming will be a poem that is written by Angel C. Dye. She is a poet, a scholar of African American literature from Dallas-Fort Worth, by way of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. She's a graduate of Howard University, and she holds a MFA in creative writing from the University of Kentucky. And she's currently pursuing a PhD in English at Rutgers University. So please join me in welcoming Angel Dye.
Thank you so much, Deja, for that welcome. And thank you to everybody who's gathered here today, and to everybody who's tuning in. I feel really honored to be a part of this, especially because I know that there's so much hurt in our communities. I am from Milwaukee originally, but I live now in New Jersey, just outside of New York City. So I'm very close to what is being called the epicenter of this pandemic. So I'm especially hyper aware of how people are being affected by this. I'm also being very affected by it. I'm grateful that I'm in good health and that my family and close friends are as well, but certainly it has upended our lives in every way possible. So I'm sharing this piece in hopes that it will touch somebody's heart, and that you will know, as Deja just said, that you have a community and a support system that loves you and cares about you and is thinking about you. This is called The Call. I think if I could call myself an artist, I would want to call myself free, call myself wildflower and wind. I want to breathe the breaths of 1,000 brown children and march to the beat of every hurting heart. I would answer only to the names that my ancestors could not, give them back the music that was muted into memory. If I could create something, I'd craft a multicolored, many-faced mural, a beautiful backdrop beyond binary bounds, If I could really call myself an artist, I would be an earthen vessel, clay and water and sun. I would be hallowed and hollow, sacred and open. If I could be carved, I'd want to be inscribed with symbol and song, a medium for the divine and mortal. I'd be meeting ground paved in footprints with no imaginary borders or asinine allegiance. If I could call myself an artist, I mean really call upon something, I'd be fist raised, sign raised, chant raised. If I could be counted among the game changers, the change makers, the stake raisers, I'd want to be hand clap, tambourine, organ, snare, and there and there and there and everywhere. If I could call myself anything, I'd call myself listening. Because the call is not an appointment or accolade. It's an incitement and acknowledgement, a recognition of work to be done, and an invitation to act. The call is forging freedom from fire and rendering art from darkness. The call is to empower and to lead, to feel and to be. The call is booming, loud, and lifting us to our feet. Can you hear it? Thank you.
Thank you, Angel. Thank you, Angel, for sharing those powerful words that resonated with me on so many different levels. And I hope that you all were able to relate with that in some way, shape, or form. Thank you again for that. So we know that many of our families have not been able to gather, whether it be for leisure purposes or whether it be to visit our loved ones in the hospitals or properly have a funeral or bury our loved ones. We know that right now our community, again, has been separated. And in acknowledgement of that, I know that a lot of us are in need of words of comfort and are in need of words of healing. And so we have invited Reverend Scott Marisi Wheeler, the pastor of Oakland Cambridge Presbyterian Church and a WAVE board member, to share some words of encouragement, some words of comfort, and just some words with our community. Reverend?
Deja, thank you. And thank you for having me. Would like to greet everyone. Shalom, salam, peace be with you. And invite us to take a moment to quiet ourselves in heart and mind, that we might be more open to the sacred presence within and around us, even here in this virtual gathering of the community around the state. Amen. We've lost so much through this pandemic, not only with the death of loved ones, but with so many other things. In addition to being a pastor, I teach in McFarland in the high school and middle school. And I know the senior class of 2020, not only at my school, but around our state, around our nation, are grieving all that they have lost. College students, small businesses, families trying to connect. Grief is a part of our daily lives. Mindful of that, I want to share part of a psalm from 124, adapted by Nan C. Marrow in her book, Psalms for Praying. And she writes and offers us these words. If it were not for you, beloved, you who make all things new, fear and chaos would reign in every heart. In you, we will trust. When doubt threatens to overwhelm and separate us, when anger makes us blind, then you, O merciful one, are ever ready to awaken the holy and sacred within us. Then do your living streams of grace enfold us. Blessed are you who are a very presence to us, a comfort to troubled hearts. A comfort to troubled hearts. We try to reach out to one another through social media, through Zoom, through Google Hangout, through other opportunities to be in touch and to provide care and comfort beyond the physical presence that we long for with one another at this time. Jan Richardson, who blogs at the Painted Prayer Book, writes of grief, and I think this is appropriate for us at this time. If we have grown weary in this season of pandemic, if we have become overwhelmed, if we are living with fear or anxiety or worry about what lies ahead, if the swirl of life has become intense, if time is moving strangely, if grief has become a traveling companion, if the ground beneath us has given way, if a certain way forward into this season of new life seems less than certain, this is the day that calls us to breathe. This is the day that invites us to make a space within the weariness, the fear, the heartache. This is the day that beckons us to turn toward one another and to remember we do not breathe alone. It is only together, even if only for now, virtually, that we will find our way through the darkness into the healing light. And with that, I offer this blessing that she has written, entitled Blessing for Falling into a New Layer of Grief. You thought you had hit every layer possible, that you had found the far limit of your sorrow and of your grief. And now the world falls from beneath your feet all over again, as if the wound were opening for the first time, only now with an ache you recognize as ancient. Here is the time for kindness, your own to yourself, as you fall and fall, and as you land hard in this layer that lies deeper than you ever imagined you could go. Think of it as a secret room, the space that is open before you, that is opened inside you, though it may look sharp in every corner and sinister no matter where you turn. Think of it as a hidden chamber in your heart where you can stay as long as you need, where you will find provision you never wanted, but on which your life will now depend. I want to tell you there is treasure even here, that the sharp lines that so match your scars will lead to solace, that this space that feels so foreign will become for you a shelter. So let yourself fall. It will not be the last time, but do not let this be cause for fear. There are the rooms around which your new home will grow, the home of your heart, the home of your life, that welcomes you with such completeness and opening and opening and opening it to you, no matter what part you turn away. Let us pray. O Sacred One, whose love never fails, we ask that you deliver us from the duress of death and the grip of grief. We're trying so hard to wait and be patient during this time of sheltering in place, in the midst of our fears, and yet together we rest our hope in you. You are our help, our comfort, and our shield, our shelter from this storm. Comfort those who grieve in the many different ways we are experiencing loss during this pandemic. And may you grant us shalom, salam, and peace as we put our trust in you together. Amen. Thank you. May God's blessings be with you, and may you find comfort and peace in those.
Thank you for those heartfelt sentiments, Reverend. I know he called us to center ourselves. But I just want to do a brief moment of silence, about 15 seconds of silence for us all to process what we've heard thus far, for us to all think about anything we may be going through at this time, for us to think about our loved ones, our families, our friends, anybody who is affected during this period of time, even those who are protesting and asking for our states to be opened back up, even sending them positive thoughts and hoping that they will, open up their hearts and minds to people's lives. So I just want to offer us 15 seconds of silence at this time. Thank you. And as I call us all back together and we get into the second half of our programming, we have some words from some leaders in our community, some staples in our community. And so I would like to introduce Pardeep Kalika from he's the executive director of the Interfaith Conference of Greater Milwaukee. And he is a powerful, powerful individual in our community, and we are very, very lucky to have him with us today. Pardeep?
Thank you, Deja. Thank you, Jerry, and on behalf of the Interfaith Conference, we wish each and everyone greetings and peace to our Muslim brothers and sisters, locally and abroad. We wish you Ramadan Mubarak. May this Ramadan be generous to you all. To all of those who have celebrated holy holidays in this month of April, Easter, Passover, Vasaki, may God continue to hold you in all his grace. To everyone who is struggling with grief, loss of livelihood, loneliness, depression, anxiety, substance abuse, any kind of pain and suffering and hurt because of the challenges that we are currently facing. May God grant you all the mercy, and may God watch over Jerry's family as we pray today. We know that the effects of COVID-19 are taking an emotional, physical, and spiritual toll on us all. And whether you observe a religion or not, we are all children of faith. This is because we all have faith that the work that we do now will create a better tomorrow, a healthier tomorrow. We have faith that we will all get through this and be stronger from it together. So we ask you for your divine presence of love, connection, and sustained energy throughout these times. We ask you for the blessings of everyone that is speaking today, that is singing, offering poetry, moments of silence, words of solace, and remaining strong at this event and at home. We ask you for your guidance during this time of darkness and ask you to wrap your love around our local community, our state, the United States, and our global family. We know that there are those in the world who have no access to PPEs, no ventilators, no medical testing, no medical facilities. But Lord, we do know that they have access to you. Please watch over them, watch over their children, watch over their elderly. Let us all respond to this time with courage, creativity, and centeredness. Let us not become paralyzed nor consumed with fear that we lose sight of the ultimate truth, which is that you reside in each and every one of us. And this gift of life is more precious than anything. Thank you all for everything that you do, and it is a blessing to be with you all. Thank you so much, Jerry. Thank you so much, Wave. And thank you to everyone that is on this panel. God bless.
Thank you, Pardeep, for sharing those uplifting and strengthening words with all of us. The final speaker that we have for this afternoon is Bridget Robinson. Bridget is the program director of Safe and Sound here in Milwaukee and the executive director for Blank Space Milwaukee. Bridget is a community bridge builder. I've witnessed it myself. She spends her time connecting people to resources and inspiring everyone through her words and her acts of faith. She's a huge advocate for the youth that we have here in our community, and I'm just so thankful that she was able to join us today. So I am going to pass it over to Bridget to give us some continued words of encouragement.
Hello, everyone. Again, thank you to WAVE for hosting this Unifying Wisconsin event today. Again, my name is Bridget Robinson. I work for Safe and Sound, where it is our mission to unite youth and residents and law enforcement and community resources to build safe and empowered neighborhoods. And so I really focus on that word safe today because we want to highlight the importance of being safe right now and the way that we can do that. I say happy Friday, and I mean happy Friday. Someone said to me today, are we still allowed to be happy for Friday during this pandemic? And I said, absolutely. Without question, during this time, we are all feeling an array of emotions. Some of us are afraid of this invisible virus that's basically stopping the world from functioning like normal. Some of us are worried about money, so they've been laid off or hours have been cut. And so that's got them worried about bills and then worried about food and then worried about access to food. Some of us aren't sleeping at night because of all of these emotions. And I'm guilty too of losing out on some good hours of sleep because I've just been overthinking all the things. I think it's important to note that it's okay to not be okay right now. And it's completely normal to feel some kind of way. It's also valid to recognize that you are not alone in how you are processing these things. This pandemic is something that neither you or I or my mama or my granny have experienced in their lifetime, and not just in Wisconsin, but across the globe. I've seen so many posts and memes talk about being alone together. And while that's true, I really want to focus on the idea of together, because we are in this together. I remind us to be gentle with ourselves and each other. I think just as much as the world would have us feeling powerless and maybe even trapped until the world opens back up, please believe that you have control over your own well-being. You get to control the way you process information. So if you need to shut it off, you might need to shut it off. The way you take care of yourself and the way you take care of the people around you. And to be honest, you get to control my own health and well-being with the decisions that you make about being safe. And so for me, that's really intense and deep when you think about it. But I'm trying to tap into this inner freedom that we all have to make choices about being safe and taking care of each other. I encourage you to shift the state of crisis into a state of empowerment. This is a time for us to learn more about ourselves and our family and about the world and about the community that we live in. This is a great time to prepare ourselves, preparing ourselves to be better, and then preparing to have a plan for the next crisis or thing that could happen to our world. I encourage you to surround yourself, virtually of course, with like-minded people who know how to make the best out of a not so good situation. I encourage you to turn your fears and anxiety into focus, really focusing on the life that you want and how you want to build a life for yourself. Begin to shift your thinking into how you will create a beautiful life for the people around you. There's a lot of talk about reflecting and reflection, and I really think that means that we are taking the time to find a moment of appreciation and gratitude for the things that we have to be thankful for the blessings that are still happening even in the midst of this pandemic. I really ask that you not just find time, but actually assign time, scheduling intentional time for self-care. So I'm finding myself making an appointment on my calendar to make sure that my mental and my spiritual and even my physical well-being is being taken care of. I was outside jumping rope yesterday, trying to make sure that my physical well-being was being taken care of. The Bible says to be anxious for nothing. And I really believe that when we are worried and flustered about things, that that's an enemy to our peace. And I encourage you today not to let anything rob you of your peace. Make the decision not to operate in chaos. Reflect on the things that make you happy, what makes you feel good, and what makes you feel blessed. And then once your glass is full, please share that hope and that peace with other people. Remember, we are facing this together, and it is affecting each of us. And I encourage you to tell somebody if you need help, to reach out if you are struggling. Even if we don't have a direct solution, there are so many networks of people that are forming to provide advice, support, and resources so that you can get the help that you need. You are not alone. We are in this together, and all is not lost. And so I really hope that you will be well and take good care of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bridget. And thank you to everyone for participating and for bringing such hope and positivity to these dark days. I do want to say, though, that I think that in this time, a lot of us might be feeling angry too and frustrated. And that's okay too. It's okay to have those feelings. They're valid. And it's okay to express them if that helps you heal. And so I wrote a piece, and it's especially meant for those who are angry right now. It's called Up. Joe is fired up. He's revved up. He's amped up with his microphone. Joe demands freedom. Joe's pizza shop he worked so hard to build up is closed up. The bills are piling up and up. Joe demands liberty, and he's all armed up with his Chinese knockoff AK-47 and his black mask and camo pants, his Rambo wannabe tactical vest filled up with all the extra rounds this GI Joe could want. And Karen, she's fed up. She's had it up to here. She raises her fist, yells, "Get out of the way," at the nurse, standing with his arms akimbo, blocking her lane. Karen's been holed up. She's done her makeup, put her hair up, first time in a month. She hits the horn again. "Up yours," she yells, but still he doesn't move. She lifts her sign up and shakes it at him. Ah, now the nurse knows. Karen wants a haircut. Letitia is gowned up, gloved up. She's been up 22 hours now. She wants to sleep, but she's made a promise. Randy's fevered up again. He's pumped up with mercy drugs. Letitia dials up his wife and flips the camera so they can be together. His wife wants him to cheer up. She talks about better times. What was it, a month ago? We went to your favorite place. As soon as you're back up, we'll go again, I promise. She's certain his face lights up, thinking about the best pizza on the planet, as he says. But suddenly he juts his chin up, and she knows. And suddenly she's saying, best husband, best father, forever love. But her words are caught up in machines beeping, alarms sounding, and finally a deep rattled breath. Letitia squeezes his hand, drops to her knees, and lifts her eyes up heavenward. Guiding his gentle soul, she prays. Time's up. Ah, time's up, thinks Karen. She's giving up. The crowd is leaving. She backs up, cursing the nurse. It's his fault. She's missed all the fun. And Joe, He spots a TV camera trained on him. They have him in their sights. He pulls his rifle up front, straightens up his MAGA hat, lifts up his microphone for one last chant. Liberate Wisconsin. And the few remaining protesters answer back, live free or die.
I just want to give everybody a moment to sit with that. Thank you, Jerry, for those powerful, those strong, emotional words that I know a lot of us are feeling. A lot of us are seeing these things happen in the news. We're frustrated, we're angry. I found myself yelling at my phone, at the TV, in any way that I can, just wishing that people would understand the gravity of this situation. I think that those words really captured, again, what a lot of us are feeling. And I thank you for taking the time out to craft that and write those words. As we close out our programming, we have one more special guest who will just give us a word of encouragement through song. And we are very, very thankful to have him. And we're very, very thankful that he has lended his talents to us. So we have John Stanford, who is the Director of Youth Services at Hope House, Milwaukee. And so we'll just pass the camera over to him and we'll let him take us through a song.
I see trees of green and red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright, blessed day, the dark, sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I see babies crying, and I watch them grow. They'll learn so much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I see babies crying, and I watch them grow. They'll learn so much more than I'll ever know. Then I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Then I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Thank you.
Thank you, John, for that very, very beautiful song. I truly, truly appreciate you all for tuning in. I appreciate all of the participants who were able to be here with us today. Although we are closing out this programming officially, I encourage you all to keep your hearts open and to know again that there are people in your community who are here with you. Although we are not physically with you, you are all in our thoughts, in our prayers, in our dreams. And I just encourage you all again to extend that same level of support to someone near you. If you have someone in your phone contacts that you maybe have not had an opportunity to talk to in a while, reach out to that person. If there's somebody that you may have had a riff with, but you think that it's repairable, repair that relationship. We really truly don't know what will happen the next moment or the next. We don't know what will happen the next day, the next month, the next year. However, we do know that we are all better and we are all stronger when we are together as a unit, as a community, as a circle of love. We are all better when we support one another. I want you all to remember the words that we heard today, the beautiful poetry, the beautiful songs, the beautiful passages that were written. And I just want you all to take care of yourselves. I want to again thank all of the participants who were able to be with us today, who were able to take time out of their busy schedules, because I know this time, although a lot of us are at home, for some of us, the work has not stopped, the work has not ceased. And doing events and things like this is a huge part of what a lot of us do. And so I just want to again just offer my sincere gratitude for you all taking the time out to be part of this event. For those of you who are watching, thank you again for tuning in. Thank you for interacting with us in the comments. Thank you for sharing this event with your loved ones. And just thank you for being you. Thank you for caring about this purpose. Thank you for caring about those around you. And thank you for caring about Wisconsin. Thank you for caring about our country. From those of us at WAVE, again, we just want to extend our sincere gratitude. We wish you all good health. We hope that you are all safe. And we also want to offer just an additional level of support. If any of you are experiencing some struggles and we can connect you to some resources in the community, feel free to reach out to us and we will do the best that we can to assist you all. That is the end of our programming. Again, thank you all for tuning in. Again, we wish you good health, safety, and a wonderful weekend. Thank you.